Hi everybody, in this video we're going to be looking at the indexing system on the 2023 version of QSafe. So what is different? In the previous versions of QSafe, the index was dictated by the program and you couldn't change it yourself. For the average user, the supplied indexes are a good guideline of what you need to compile a good safety file, but that index is geared more towards the construction industry. So what happens if you're not in construction? And this is where it's great for you. You can now create an index that is more suitable to your application. Also, what was in the index that is supplied, the standard one, there's certain items you might want to remove, and I'll show you how to do that. I'll also show you how to make a complete new one from scratch, which is suited to your needs. And it might also be the application that you need it suited not to your needs, but to your client's needs. So if the client gives you a health and safety specification and says, I want the index done like that, in that order, that's what I want, that's what you need to provide, because that allows their safety officer to now match your number for their number, so they can quickly go through the items and check that you are compliant and then sign you off and allow you to get onto site quickly. So let's have a look at where the index is. From our home page, we select Safety File Index, and an index will show, or it'll ask you to add one in. In this case, this is what the standard 2023 index looks like, and you can change any of these items on here to suit your needs. Make sure that the contents of the safety file is specific to your site. It is a site-specific document. If it doesn't apply to you, please remove it, leave it out. If you need to add in something, do so. I'll show you how to do that shortly. So if we want to edit this index, we choose the Edit Index option, and now we see a lot more information available to us. So what we have on the left-hand side is the page order. We then have our categories. We then have our documents, which you can either preview and print, and then your actual index number. The reason why we have page order and index number, which are often the same but not necessarily the same. You could have a page index number that has letters in front of it, doc 001, doc 002, and that's okay, you can put those in. But the advantage with having the page order here is it locks everything in the right place and allows you to move things up and down with these arrows on the side. So for example, if you want tax clearance moved down one, we simply click that and we move it down and it will reset the order. Now in doing so, what you see is on the right hand side, some things have turned yellow. The reason being, it's showing there's something not right in your order because it is now reading it in number order. If you're doing things with letters, it's not going to read it as number order, but that's okay. You just have to change those manually. So if we did want to keep this as a number order, which is preferred, we can go to reset the index and it'll straighten all those up and renumber them for you. It doesn't affect what's on the left because that's order and that is fixed. If you choose to remove an item, let's say this one here, appointment of the contractor, that doesn't apply to you, we will simply delete it. Our numbers have changed and we can now reset the order. What happens if you want to use a different indexing system? We go to the index options and the system will come with several different options you can use as samples. On any one of these, you can go into it, you can check it and change it. Now remember, this is a master index. This goes onto your system and you can change it to suit your needs as a master document, a base document. You also have the option to duplicate the index. So for example, if you want hotel management, but you want to change it to hostel management, which is a very similar thing, you can duplicate it, rename it, and then go in and edit the content. So what if you wanted to create your own index? And a good example is this particular one here. This client has said, I want your safety file to look like that. There are no categories, which is great, it makes our life easier, but things are in number order and we need to match their index. So at this point, in the available indexes, we choose a new master index, Jaden Construction, and we set go. So we then have a long list of items to choose from to go into our index. There are currently over 450 items there, which is a lot. And until such time you become more familiar with the system, we suggest you use things like the sort by common. And if you do that, it now shows you all the items that have been marked on the system as common. They're commonly used and it's a good guideline. Please remember you can also go into any of our existing indexes and have a look at them, how they made up, to get ideas of how it should be. In this case, we are going to copy the order for this particular client. So what the client has asked us for is item number 1, health and safety policy. So we can now go through our list, which you can sort in alphabetical order or by common documents. And there it is over there, occupational health and safety policy. And we choose that. And we know in this case, as item number 1 on the list, so we're going to immediately give it a number being page index 1. The next thing they want, CK documents and tax documents. So in this case, we're going to search for company registration. And there it is. And we include that. And that being item number 2. Letter of good standing, number 4. And try use as few words as possible in your search. And this is where it's useful to print one of our standard indexes to see what names that the system uses to be able to find the document that you want quickly. Once we've completed all those and set them up according to the client list, we now choose the button over here called Setup Now, and we then see the list that we've created. We see the numbers are a bit scrambled there, so we just sort the number index. And at this point, it's a good idea to set the order as well on the side. That'll set the order numbers in the sequence that they are now. But in going through our list, we suddenly discover we've left out the appointments. And of course, there are lots of appointments. So at this point, we can now go and add a document, and we choose appointment, keeping the word short, and the commonly listed ones are shown in green to help us. So yes, we want an assistant supervisor, we want a CEO, we want a construction supervisor, and a fall protection planner. And of course, you can add in as many as you want. In their case, they don't specify what they want, legal appointments, but on the system there are over 100 different appointments available, and you'll choose the ones that are relevant to your job. But now, of course, we need to change the numbering because these are incorrect. These have come in as number 8, which is perfect. And here we want to just change the order, and we reset the order, and everything's good. Now you see in our numbering we've got several 8s here, but that's correct because we wanted all the appointments to be 8, and we're good to go. We can also now change categories. In this case, the client didn't want categories, so if categories come through, just delete them. Or you can take this opportunity to now add a set of categories. And where do we get those from? They're in the category library. In the category library, there is a list of commonly used categories, and we suggest go through those and delete ones that won't apply to you and narrow it down to a list that you like. And then you can put numbers against them as well. So in this case, these numbers are aligned for the QSafe 2023 index, and so when you add in these items, it'll bring in that number as well. Because there's no number there, it's not going to bring it in. So if we wanted to add in a category here, we call it appointments, they'll come in. But for the exercise, this client didn't want those, so we are just going to delete those. Now we can go back to our project index, which has got this index that we don't want, and we now replace the index with our chosen one, which is Jaden Construction, which is that one there. And there are items, no indexes, in the right order, and these are showing up in yellow because there's something wrong, because this sets everything in number order. In this case, the number order is slightly out, so we are going to leave it as it is. But we see there's item 14, the 15 is missing, and we go back to our client index and we find it is that one there, the inspections. So in this case, we're not going to change the master document, we will change the document for this project, and we can add an inspection, of which again there are many to choose from, and we're going to choose the health and safety inspection. We pop that in. We know it's item number 15. We sort the order, and then it's put it in there. We've got a gap there, so we just reset the page order as well, and that keeps it there. So at any time if we want to move things up and down, we can do so. And once done, you can now go to the preview button, go to the policy, and then by using the button next, you'll scroll through the different documents And you'll only preview the documents that are on your index. So number 5 is your health and safety management plan. We go to our index. Number 5, health and safety plan. And if we now preview that index itself to check it, it is there. Number 5, health and safety management plan. And you'll print this and give it to the health and safety officer or inspector or clerk and allow them to check your safety file so you can proceed onto site. And once you've checked your documents, you can choose to print all yes, and that'll print this list. But we do recommend you go through each one with the preview button and check that they're all correct before you print, otherwise the printing process is going to get interrupted. Just to recap, when you're setting up an index, number 1, sort the page order first. Number 2, update the categories from the category library. And then we check and update the index, which is on the right hand side. And if you use this reset index button, it's going to number things in number order. If you don't want to change that, leave it be. That is all for now. Goodbye.